This is Tim Rogers with the Dodgers 2080 Blue Madness podcast. I have with me from Dodgers being the Bleed Los podcast, my man, the artist formerly known as Doom Sal, Mike Salas, in the house. So we are very excited to have you, Mike. Welcome aboard.
Thank
Good to
you.
have you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I finally am starting to get this sharing, having multiple people down, with I'm using the Restream thing. So enough of that Zoom stuff. But yeah, welcome aboard. We have of course, another momentous day in the 2024-2025 off season as we wake up. Well, I was indisposed when I got the notification. I had to get live quick. What were you doing when it happened? Were you still asleep?
No, I just got out of the shower, and then we have a group chat with all the writers from Dodgers Beat,
Right.
And then my phone just started ping, 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 ping. We got Tanner Scott. We got Tanner Scott. No, he's signed now. We're breaking baseball. Ha ha ha. It's kind of funny.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, we are breaking baseball, but it's all good, right? I mean, and I'm starting to pile up these things of where was I when, like, hey, people put in the chat, where were you or what were you doing when Tanner Scott signed? What were you doing when you found out about Roki Sasaki? I was just about ready to I was literally over here starting to get back to work because I had just taken a break.
Right.
And then I see it and I'm like, oh, right back to this side, go live. and there we were.
Yeah, I think you were the first one to go live, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had my thumbnails ready to go. I have one more thumbnail ready to go, and that's the Dodgers re-sign Teoscar Hernandez. Actually, I need to make another one for Kershaw because I expect Kersh to come back.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings us into the topic. What else will the Dodgers do this offseason? What do you see, Mike?
I see the Dodgers doing almost exactly what they did last year. They're going to sign Kershaw during spring training, and they're going to sign Teoscar Hernandez during spring training, especially when they put what his name our pitcher who got the arm injury last year, who's doing so well. Why did I just
River Ryan?
No, the other one.
A young guy?
Hold on.
Oh, Gavin Stone.
Gavin Stone. Good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they got about 4 or 5 guys to put on the regretfully the 60-day IL.
So once they put him on, then they'll bring Kershaw on. Once they put Brewstar on, then they'll probably pick up Teoscar Hernandez. But that's what I kind of see going on.
I wanted to bring up a page. I'm going to share the screen with you, and everyone else should be able to see it too. I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to make it so that only, let's see, there we go. So you can see that, if you look at this, you go, well, holy smokes, man, there's like all these dudes. There's, here's 9 guys that I have on the field, including Shohei at DH. And the bench right now, I mean, I guess today would be Miggy Rowe, Austin Barr, Andy Pages, and Chris Taylor. And that's what I'm just assuming for the moment, because second base isn't really settled. I have Haesung Kim there. And then, James Outman and Fiducia would be in the minors. But if they say PK, someone's got to go. I don't know why I keep having my mouse over Chris Taylor. But it feels like that in a way, right? I mean, but I don't know. What do you do?
Well, I kind of think, if the Dodgers make another move, let's just say they get rid of Chris Taylor, I see them going to a team with a lot of, high quality prospects that they have and trading him for them. I don't see them going after any more players. I think going after players is done.
Yeah, I kind of feel that too. I think, if something presents itself, I'm sure Andrew Friedman is gonna, do his thing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. S and so, yeah, given that, there was the Luis Robert things that we heard, and then, what, a month and a half ago, it was Nolan Arenado. I left them on there just because, but I it doesn't it would be nice to have Arenado as third is at defense at third base, I'll admit that, but then you just with Muncy at second, that's I think a disaster. Um,
I don't see Arnauto coming.
yeah,
I just don't see the other folks, that are still out there. I think other teams have a bigger need than the Dodgers do,
right.
and for those players. And I think they're happy with who they have. I mean, Max Muncy played a really good third base this year. He
It did.
improved quite a bit. He was able to get to the ball. He was able to move laterally. Uh, his arm strength was really good, especially when he came back from his injury. Uh, his bat was something to be desired, especially during the playoffs. He wasn't the Max Muncy that we're really used to, but as far as defensively, I think he did really good.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, it was nice to see. That was one of the things last off season was, my whole thing was he needs to lose 30
Hmm.
pounds. He lost 15, but he also worked on his footwork and, like you said, the lateral movement and all that was much
Hmm.
better. And yeah, and if they DK, I mean, he can platoon with him, or if he starts to fall off defensively, Kike can go in there and play in at the end of the game.
Hmm.
Um, and I do see, I don't know, I can see a scenario. I don't know how much Mookie will be into it, where Mookie, after the games, if the Dodgers still ahead in the eighth inning, I could see Miggy Rowe at short with Mookie moving over to second or moving into right field even. Um, it would make the defense a lot better in the end of the game, especially. I mean, that Haesung Kim at second base looks really freaking good.
He's good. He's very fast. He maneuvers very well. I mean, he's the what was it? He was the only uh, Korean player who got what our version of the Golden
Yeah,
Glove when he was playing shortstop and at second base. He's not the I don't want to say the most reliable, but he's just as good, if not better, than Gavin Lux. He's that slap hitter,
yeah,
so his on base percentage is really good. He's very fast to where once he gets on base, he's going to be stealing bases and moving and getting himself in scoring position. So I think he's a really good pickup. But again, like any overseas player or international
mhm,
player, they're going to need time to come in and adjust to the major leagues, kind of like Yamamoto had to do, just like Shohei Ohtani did. I mean, he
yeah,
had a horrible first year, horrible, and it was not good. So that's one thing that a lot of people need to realize is, these guys need to come in, they need to adjust, they need to get used to the speed of the game, the amount of games that they're playing each week,
yeah,
one after the another. So
yeah, and all the flying that they do too.
yes.
Yeah, I can see, possibly. Well, if they sign Kike could play some second base.
Hmm.
Um, or if they did, I can't. I think it was with talking with Doug. I think it was with Doug. The way the Dodgers work, I just can't imagine Tommy playing 150 games in center field. Seems like a waste of his versatility.
Exactly.
So I could see Tommy playing plenty of second base, or maybe when they do some of their platooning, they would put Tommy at second and then Kike in center against the lefties, and then that's kind of interesting too. That's kind of like the playoffs in some ways with having Kike in center. Um, yeah, I think I'm with you on the moves. It just
Well, the thing is the Dodgers are going to have a problem, just like they did this year, on putting players in when they're needed in those certain situations because they're going to have plenty of position players that are going to be there. It's just the consistency is not going to be there, like most other teams where they have consistent shortstop, consistent
Yeah.
third baseman, second baseman, center fielder instead of platooning all the time. It's great to see Teoscar to go back to right field. I'm happy he's back in the
Yeah.
position that he loves to play. I mean, he's got a good arm.
Yep.
It's left field. I want to see actually. I want to see Paez this year. I like to see him be a starter and start in left field. He's a corner outfielder. He's got a very strong arm,
Yeah.
and I want to see what he can do this year.
Yeah. I think though with Conforto, they kind of answered that call right there. I think if they're going to play Pajes, it's going to have to be in center.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
know,
and if I were, if I were in charge, and I'm not, obviously, I would have Mookie at second. I'd have
yep,
Tommy Tanks at short, and I'd have Pajes in center since they
exactly.
already signed Conforto. Now, I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't have signed Conforto. I would have said, "Oh, I'm going with Pajes." But I think the Dodgers are hedging themselves a bit to go, "Hey, what if he goes James Outman on us
Hmm.
and provides a couple of nice defensive plays," which is, it's about, James, friend of the show, man. Love that dude so
Oh
much.
yeah, yeah,
But he had such a bad year. It was such a waste. Hopefully guys like James Outman can come back and put themselves in the mix by earning that again. It'd be wonderful, wouldn't it?
yeah. Just like he did the first year when he came up. I mean, he totally in spring training because
Yep.
we were there watching him. You know how well he performed and what he did and how he hit the
Yep.
ball and how he's running all over the place. I mean, he earned that spot
He
on the
did.
roster.
Yeah. And I think that's the Dodgers, that they're not gifting any rookies a position anymore. That's for
Hmm.
sure. I'll even go to rushing, right? So Dalton Rushing is their top prospect right now, according to some, even though Zaire Hope is like
Right.
taken over the world. He's the
Yeah.
flavor of the month, that's for sure. But you go, hey, if Rushing's going to make this team, he's going to have to go earn it, because there's not a spot for Dalton Rushing right now on this team.
No.
But if he starts going, hey, I'm going to go hit 350 at OKC, and I'm going to field competently in left field, or work catching, it keeps improving catcher, maybe Austin Barnes finds his way to the injured list.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd like to see Rushing just stick as a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's a good catcher. He improved he inc- improved quite a bit last year in the minors, coming up from Tulsa and going into Oklahoma City. He did really well. Not too many balls got passed by him. He was able to frame himself pretty good. He has a very strong arm.
Yep.
And he showed off his bat, in AAA, which, you know, that's the stage to show it off at, and he showed that, he could really crush the ball.
Yeah, and I think the whole left field thing was going, hey, we might need a bat in the
Mhm.
postseason, and we got to find a spot for him just in case. Because what if Teo
Yeah.
would have gone down or something like that? And
Hmm.
then you go, well, we're going to put Chris Taylor out there. Well, I like Chris Taylor, but I don't think that's the guy you want starting every game in a playoff series, and at a power position. So that's what I think that was about. Um, It'll be interesting to see what they do, though. Do they play him in left field again this year, or is it just catcher? Obviously, they freed up a spot with Diego Cartaya being gone. I'm still kind of recovering from that fall of his.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Eh,
just so huge. Just 2 years ago, we were all just going, "That's our
we,
guy. That's our guy." And
we were saying about Cartaya what we're saying about Rushing. Get rid of Barnes. Get Cartaya a chance. It's the same thing.
yeah, I will never be on the get rid of Barnes. I'm the hide him if you need to,
Hmm.
because I do think that well, I think with Barnes, they're going to get him to his 10 years. I just think they're going to do that.
Well, this is the year, right?
No, still he's got another half year after this.
Oh, I thought he came in 2015, and this was
Yeah,
his
but
fifth
the
year.
the 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 accumulation right now is still only 8.5 years,
Okay.
because he bounced back and forth. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit longer, but he's also extremely valuable. He's a great coach on the field, and you can,
Mhm.
let's be honest. In 2020, I wanted after Game 4 of the 2020 World Series, I wrote an article: get Barnes in there, get Smith the heck away from catcher for the rest of the series.
Mhm.
Now you look at where Smith has become, where he caught almost every inning except when he got his hand hurt or something like that
Yeah.
for like a
Yeah.
couple innings,
Mhm.
and how he handled 100 million different pitchers. Oh my gosh, he was so good. And the fact that you can see how the staff has grown into him, and I think part of that is just Barnes being there for him and teaching him,
Mhm.
and developing his Will Smith into really an excellent catcher. I mean, plus you can't beat that arm. I mean, that he had some nice
Oh,
throws
yeah.
here.
Yeah. And you could see Austin Barnes, especially during spring training when, especially, this year, since I'm going to be there, the first week, um, he sits there and he talks to all the prospect catchers,
Yeah.
from Oklahoma, from Tulsa, from the Great Lake Loons, and he'll spend time with them and teach them and show them different tricks that he has up his sleeve. So I think he's going to be like a really good offensive coach at some point for the Dodgers organization.
Oh, I completely agree. I actually want him to be the manager. I think I love catchers as managers,
Hmm.
but that's a long ways away.
Oh yeah,
Doc ain't Doc gets that job until he's doesn't want it anymore. Now, I mean,
exactly.
he went from being one game away from being fired to basically having he stays there as long as he wants. But with Barnesy, yeah, I've echoed that. I know that I spoke with Yener Fernandez, and he had good things to say about Barnesy, and some of
Hmm.
the other catchers did too, Galees and guys like that. So Barnesy is one of those guys that, um, first of all, they joke he's the captain. It's because he is the captain in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. There's a lot of heart and soul there with that guy. So Barnes ain't going anywhere, but the IL can be there for a bit,
Yep.
and if Rushing can just get going with that, yeah, I mean, because people are going, well, they got rid. What do they do if someone goes down? If Smith goes down, Rushing will get his chance. I mean, if it's extended.
If it's extended, yeah, but I think that Fiducia is going to be coming in first. I
Hmm.
mean, honestly, he's a little bit more polished and proven as a catcher. So I see Fiducia coming in, and it's I kind of feel bad for him, because he's
Yeah,
kind of like in that Bush era. He's getting older. You know, he the Dodgers either need to, like we always say, either play him or trade him,
right.
because he's a really good catcher and he'll make a good any major league team a real solid catcher, especially behind the plate. And once you give him some time to be able to get used to calling a good game and get used to the pitchers that are throwing to him, and
Right.
his bat is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it was in some ways disappointment when he was brought up. I mean, because it was for Barnes, right? Yeah,
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 and he
but
just sat.
he barely played.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was like, why are you guys driving Smith into the ground
Hmm.
when you just give this guy a few chances? It seemed like he just didn't get near the ABs he deserved, in my opinion. It was crazy, but it goes back to what I just think there's certain players in the Dodger organization that the Dodgers just aren't that fond of. And I regretfully think Hunt's one of them. I think
Yep.
Ryan Ward's one of them. I think Drew Avens was one of them. He's with the A's right now, right?
Yep. Yep.
So excited for him. I think Cody Hosey. I thought that guy deserved a chance.
Yep.
We saw with Lipsia. They just weren't. No matter what, they were gonna. It was gonna be Kevin Biggio before it was gonna be.
Yeah, that was crazy. I
Right.
couldn't get. I didn't understand that one.
Yeah, there's just I guess there's there's just certain players that they just don't seem to
Well,
wanna give a chance.
and then, I know we're probably gonna jump into this, but, you know, look at Chris Newell. He's a guy that I'm totally hot on, an excellent, center fielder.
Yep.
He has really good speed. He was, I think when he was with the Loons, he was the first player to get 20 stolen bases and 20 home runs, during his time, with the Great Lakes. He led that division with home runs. He's got a solid bat. His problem is it's not consistent, and
Right.
he does strike out pretty, a lot. But he is a solid center fielder that nobody really talks about. That I hope that is able to get a chance sometime. And he's
Yeah.
only 23.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy coming out of college and, yeah, well, for him, this is a big year for him.
Hmm.
You gotta see if he can do double A. I mean, that's it's definitely that first real proving ground. Oh, Normally he's exiting. Thanks, Norm.
See you, Norm.
We haven't, but Norm's like my with comments, man. He makes just
I know.
amazing, great comments. Really insightful. Appreciate all that. Um, but yeah, double A is it. I mean, that's where Diego Cartaya crashed, was
Hmm.
there. And that's where certain players, it's just well, remember even Andy Pages had this he
Yes.
started again in double A.
Hmm.
And then he hit something. Something came out, for him. And then of course he goes up to triple A and what first game in triple A, poor guy wrecked his shoulder.
Right.
Gosh. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And just look at Ramos. Is it Ramos?
yeah. Oh man, yeah.
Look at him. You
He's
know,
he's crashed out.
yeah. I mean, everybody thought he was, the next best thing since sliced bread. And, we all thought that, the way that his bat was and the way that, he plays in the outfield.
Mhm.
And he just, once he got moved up to Tulsa, his bat went quiet.
Yeah, and then it's 2 years in a row.
Hmm.
And so I was surprised he wasn't released. I'm just gonna be honest with
Me
you.
too. Me too.
Um, so maybe they still see something. I mean, it's really tough to go, "Hey, I'm gonna give up on grade 70 power and grade 70 arm,"
Hmm.
because even though he's not that big, he is strong, man.
He is.
He is
He
just
is.
he's a tank, man. Um, yeah, he's again, not a big man. Maybe 6 foot. He's not he he's kinda not wiry, but close to it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he doesn't look like he'd be that guy, but boy, he is that guy.
He bulked up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's different, for us because we get to get down on the field, and it's a lot different seeing it down on the field, watching them play and seeing the plays
Yeah.
that they make, than it is sitting in the stands and be able to, especially when you got your camera out, and you got your zoom lens on them, you could really see pretty good at what they're doing. So
Yeah. And that's one of the best parts about the jobs that we do, man. We get to go to
yeah.
Rancho and things like that to get right in there and see those guys playing. But yeah, well, we wanted to talk about, maybe the impact to the farm system that all
Hmm.
these things have had. I mean, really, I mean, in AAA right now for the position players, I only see as guys that are going to be major league starters. Sorry to
Hmm.
say this, everyone. It's Rushing and Alex Freeland. I don't the rest of them. I don't know if there's a starter, a true, regular player. I see backups for sure. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on some of that?
I'm in the same boat you are. I don't see position players coming up this year unless somebody gets hurt. I see Jackson Ferris maybe getting a shot,
Yeah,
who's going to come in more as maybe a long reliever. He's one pitcher that I'm really high on, that I hope to see him, really get a shot. I think Robleski, comes back up and and shows everybody who he really is.
Yeah.
He came up his first couple of starts, that he had were good, but then he just I think it just got too much for him. And that little bit of experience is he's able to build off of, and I think we'll see a different Robleski, this year.
Yeah. And in terms of position players, I mean, other than those two we mentioned, down below, I mean, I think we'll see DePaula at AA this year.
Hmm.
We'll see a few others that matter. But it's down below. It's the guys that were at Great Lakes and at Rancho and in Arizona and even in the DSL. That there's a lot there. And those are the ones that are starting to make our farm system rise again.
Oh yeah, I mean, our look at the signings that that we just had, the last couple of days, after Sasaki
Yeah.
signed, the amount of talent that we got from Colombia, that we got from the Dominican Republic, the first is a
Sudan.
South, Sudan
Yeah.
6'7" player, that throws 95 miles an hour right now, and he's only 17 years old.
Yeah.
He's very raw, and
Right.
he needs a lot of coaching, but look at this guy.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's it's kind of like a lot of things the Dodgers do. They're going to go and they're looking for the high risk, high reward guy. And and when you don't have millions of dollars to spend on anyone else but Roki Sasaki, not that I'm complaining at all. But that's those are the trade-offs you have to make. It's like, hey, let's spend a little bit of money on some high risk guys, because let's be honest, we haven't gotten the biggest amount of help from our international picks, in quite a few years. None of them have made the huge impact. I mean, Pages has done well for a short spurt. We saw Edgardo come up. We we got Tommy Edman and freaking Michael Kopech for Miguel Vargas and Alexander Albertus and
That's crazy.
Joel Perez, and I mean Jared, was it? Yeah, Perez, Jay Perez. Gosh, I'm so bad. So those paid off, but a lot of it hasn't. Diego obviously was the big guy. He didn't. Of course, the all time great big L was Yadier Alvarez.
Right.
Gosh. So it's been a while since we've gotten real contributions from the international guys. Sammy Boy puts Puig in there. Yep, he contributed.
Yep.
Julio Urias, rest in peace to his career.
Yep.
He got us helped get us a World Series. But we haven't really hit it big in that market. And that's I mean, it's a crapshoot. It's 16-year-olds, it's 17-year-olds.
Oh yeah. And how many in the league that that actually truly make it?
Yeah.
That are actually playing in the majors. That's the thing about baseball. You could just be an amazing in college and in high school, and you come out and you're doing very well, in the DSL, and you come into the Arizona League, and then you start off at Rancho, and then all of a sudden things get a little bit different once you go up into the Great Lakes, and then things get a lot different once you get into Tulsa, and then that's surely where they're pretty much weeded out after that.
Yeah, I mean, and you can even see it. So, when we're on the field at Rancho and you see guys playing catch versus seeing guys play catch in the major leagues. Guys play catch in the major leagues, and the fans are they're there, and they're actually pretty darn safe. At Rancho, they're not safe.
Right.
Especially if Quintero's out there in center field. Watch out, man. Everyone in that dugout. Were you there with his throws, man?
Yeah,
you were. Yeah, because we were there for Chang.
Yeah. That one ball came right in there. Just like, whoa.
Smoke, man. So they're so raw, and but it's a huge difference, and to see how quick that some of these guys have come up. But the Dodgers at the same time, they hold some guys back. I was shocked, or more. The two of the bigger shocks for me were DePaula and George starting it again at Rancho again. Maybe not George so much, but then George played the whole year at Rancho. But again, he's a young guy. But it's like, wow, they're kind of holding some of these guys back. I hope they don't. So even though I'd love to see him, I do not want to see Zaire Hope starting at Rancho again. I think huge mistake.
I I think what he did in the fall league,
Yeah,
they're gonna either promote him to straight to Great Lakes, or they're gonna send him straight to Tulsa.
push him.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of talent there. I mean, he was fun to watch. I mean,
yeah, he was.
then of course, plenty of games I was there. He was out for quite a while, and I think one of the things that concerned me, he's just so muscular. His whole
Hmm.
body, he's built like a running back, like
Hmm.
an old school, almost fullback with
Yeah,
just those Earl Campbell thick thighs.
he
My
reminds he
God.
reminds me of Barry Sanders.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. Because Campbell was even bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah, just really strong dude, and but just it's like, is he too muscular? So it concerns me a little bit. But man, the guy's a really great athlete. I mean, if you remember when the Dodgers traded for him, the Cubs had actually flirted with him being a pitcher.
right.
So he's got the strong arm. I'm still high on DePaula. I know some people go, oh, a little soured, but I think this is a big year for DePaula. I think the power starts to show a little bit.
I think he gets moved up to Tulsa this year.
I hope so. Yeah, I would really I think that I think he needs that challenge. I just
Hmm.
think that we a lot of these players they hear a lot, and sometimes they start believing
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly.
and and I think Josue is a guy that needs to be challenged. I mean, he comes from a very athletic family. Um and he's got a gift he can't teach, which is that eye.
Hmm.
It's that Juan Soto eye. I trust him more than I trust the home plate umpire. That's for sure.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, and so the young and hopefully we should see Yoendry Vargas this year at Rancho too.
Yes, I hope so.
And do you,
I
do
hope
you
so.
think Jang starts at Rancho again?
I think he starts at Rancho probably for about a quarter to maybe half of the season, and then depending on what he's doing there, I think he's going to progress very well. I think
Yeah,
he's going to. I actually think he's going to figure some stuff out. We'll be able to see him, during spring training when we go back there, and see the difference. I think that we're going to see a big difference in his pitching abilities this year. His command's going to be, I think, it's going to be a little bit better than what it was.
yeah, that'll be that because we he looked really good with some of the stuff he had, but he had a really good first inning, and the second
Yep.
inning just whew. It's
Yep.
one of the things that was surprising to me, man, that dude fit right in first day, and he fit
Yeah.
right in with the club. He knows enough English. I think the first English word I heard out of his mouth started with an F.
Right.
It fits right in. Uh, um, but and so I have super high hopes. Plus, we're going to get Kellen Lindsay,
Hmm.
so that's two fast guys with not a lot of power drafted in 2 years in a row. Um, does that concern you at all?
I mean, it does a little bit. I mean, it's the development portion of it. Where are you going to develop them at? Are they going to be infield? Are they going to be outfield? The amount of work that they're going to need. Yes, they're super fast. What are their bat skills? And like you were saying, the eye coordination to be able to see a ball coming out of the pitcher's hand and being able to react to it. So it's a little concerning. Like Kendall George, I I like the guy, but I'm not like super high on him, because he needs some work.
Yeah.
He's got a decent bat, when he gets on base, he can move around the bases, and he was doing pretty good in center field when he was playing out at Rancho. But he made some bad moves and dropped some balls, and I never really I don't know, what's his arm strength, because I didn't really see the strength of his
Yeah, I
arm.
haven't seen a ton of his throws. Nothing stood out.
Yeah,
The one thing that bothered me is I saw him get caught stealing more than I saw him steal bases.
yeah.
That's a very small sample size. I didn't make it out too much, but I saw that quite a bit. And
Mhm.
even in spring training, I saw him I was only there 2 days, and I saw him get popped twice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think he's still learning the game,
Hmm.
um, which I think is actually a good thing. It's just he's still learning the game, so I'm not gonna, freak out about him. Um, but still, it's like,
I I think he'll develop pretty good.
yeah,
The question is, is he going to develop good enough to, uh, how long is he going to stay in Rancho? Are they going to, send him up into Great Lakes? I don't think he's ready for Tulsa. Not
no,
even close.
no, not yet.
He could be, make a little bit of an impact, up at Great Lakes, but I kind of see him half of the year at Rancho, and if he's doing well, then they move him up. And
Yeah,
it depends on the need also,
right.
of what the other teams are going to need.
Yeah, one of the my guy Showtime LA, one of his big concerns is, you know, losing Tehran Lorenzo and going, who's our younger catcher? Who's the one he knows about rushing, obviously, but who's that guy that's much lower that's coming up? And I'm not sure who that is. I
They don't
mean,
have one.
from a defensive perspective, I love Galiz a lot, Jesus
Mhm.
Galiz. And I think his bat's come around. I swear, 2023, really got spent a lot of time with him. And then at the end of the year, I look at his age, is it 19? I
Yeah.
thought he was like 23. Just because he's been around and he's mature. There's a lot of maturity in him. Yeah, well, he's a catcher, right? They're supposed to, have a good head on their shoulders and stuff. But yeah, it seems like there's well, I'm pretty sure the Dodgers will go sign another, next year's international time. They'll go sign probably 10 Venezuelan catchers or something like that.
They got one this year.
Did they? Who's
Yeah, they
that?
got a. I don't remember his name. I have to look it up.
Just the other day? Or
They got him today, I think.
okay,
He's
okay,
from
good.
he's from Colombia.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't I don't know his name, uh,
Okay.
but no, they got a catcher today.
Oh, very good. Okay, I haven't dug into those lists. I just see, Francis Romero's, he's been very good with publishing those types of things.
Mhm.
That guy's really one of those guys that really stepped it up. Um, yeah, so just, wondering about the catchers. We know that there's, 100 different right-handed pitchers. One of my I don't know, just let's ask I'm gonna answer my question first, and I'll let you go. Who is your who's the one that's gonna take a big step up? And so I've said Chris Campos. Um,
Okay.
who do you have maybe as somebody that's going to step it up?
I have Chris Newell.
There you go. Right on. I hope so. Let's get those position players going, man.
I have Chris Newell, um, really having a super year at Tulsa and getting promoted to Oklahoma this year.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, Campos, I know he was at did he I can't even remember if he made it to AAA, and we got, Jared Karros keeps moving up.
Hmm.
It's good to see that. I mean, because he was got when he came out of college, he was, he was injury prone,
Yes.
and so far so good.
Yeah, he's doing really good. He got promoted pretty quick, and
Yeah,
and, and he's actually, he's pitching is super good. He's very consistent. He's not all over the place. Seen quite a few games that he pitched in
yeah.
this past year, so I'm looking forward to seeing him what he can do. Another one is I hope Noah Miller actually
Oh,
steps some things up also, and because he's a shortstop, I actually think he's a better glove than Alex Freeland is.
oh,
Uh,
yeah.
it's just his bat is not there and his speed's not there. So I don't if he doesn't have a good year, I don't think he's going to be around too much longer.
Yeah, and they got him in the Manny Margot trade,
Hmm.
which was, that happened when they signed Kike Hernandez, so watch out when they sign Kike, because when they do that, someone else is gonna get moved.
Yeah, yeah.
And hopefully I looked at Noah Miller as kind of a wild card. I mean, he comes in with that defensive skill, like you said. probably the best shortstop other than Miggy Rowe in terms of overall fielding ability.
Yeah.
And then they'll probably hopefully do that again this year when they get Kike and make a move and hopefully find another wild card that we can get excited about. I always forget about Noah Miller because he did come from a different organization, even though being so low, and it was in a trade that was kind of minor versus Zaire Hope and Jackson Ferris for Michael Bush, who a lot of us were we wanted to see him play, and but and then all of a sudden they just caught fire in the organization. And it's like, man, that trade could be one of the greatest trades in in our history. The way things are going, I mean,
Who was who was the kid that went over with Pepio? I'm forgetting his name. The outfielder.
DeLuca, Johnny DeLuca.
DeLuca. I was really high on Johnny DeLuca.
Yeah.
Really high on him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of talent. He had a rough year though. He also had injuries, and he had remember even when he was at the Dodgers, he ended up on the injured list. I wonder what's going on there. But yeah, very talented guy.
Man, he tore us up when he played us.
Yeah, that's right. So did Michael Bush.
Yep.
Oh.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah. Excuse me.
So since we're on this topic, of who may suffer, down in the minors, here's what I think, and I just want to get your take on it. Edgardo.
Yeah.
I think he stays in the minors, and he's going to replace Kopech next year.
Ooh. Well, he's got the velocity.
Because Kopech only signed for a year.
That's true. Yeah, he's only got 1 year, and he's talked about wanting to be a starter. He's not going to get that chance with the Dodgers. That's clear. That makes a lot of sense. I would like to see Edgardo get obviously some more seasoning. I mean, you were on that from the very beginning. That was one of those things where it's like, man, he developed so fast. However, I can tell you this. No, I'll tell you offline. But the fact he got there so quick was really a cool story. And the way the Dodger bullpen was going, you just never knew, right? But in 2023, and it's forgotten, the guy who saved that bullpen was Ryan Brazier. He came over and all of a sudden became this solidifying force. In 2024, it was Michael Kopech. When they got him, all of a sudden, everything changed. Because remember, Evan Phillips was going through struggles and injuries.
Yep.
Brusdar obviously was hurt. Trinan was still Trinan, but Hudson was still solid. But it just in terms of just going, hey, now all of a sudden the bullpen is not a weakness, and it just seemed like people started to get on board when Kopech came on. It goes, hey, wait, if all of a sudden I go, my 1 is now a 2, and my 2 is now a 3, and my 3 is now a 4, it just makes everything better. And Brazier wasn't even that. He was just so solid. And I hope, somehow that the bullpen can stay healthier. I mean, we do have a killer bullpen right now. I mean, we have 3 lefties.
Yes.
Vesia last year, to me, was,
his best year
by far. And it became so I didn't trust him in the playoffs. And there were other people that I spoke with on and offline that said, well, I don't trust him in the playoffs. And he earned that trust this year. He did it. And then Banda, who, came out of nowhere, he earned, every one of those relievers had important moments. I think some of it, they just got tired at the end. Game 5, where
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sitting there at Yankee Stadium going, "It's really cool the Dodgers tied the game up, but how are they gonna finish this game?"
Right?
It was just I tweeted it out. I mean, I'm sitting there going, "Oh, this is wonderful, but I just got a bad feeling about this," you know? And, of course, Blake Trinan and Walker Buehler took care of business, but that was heroic. Because during the rest of the game, Kopech wasn't good, Brewstar wasn't good, Banda wasn't good, I don't even think Vesia was good. Most relievers were just maybe 2, maybe 3 outs.
Mhm.
Versus they needed some guys to go 4 or 5 outs, and they weren't getting that. And of course, Jack Flaherty did not what did he get? 4 outs?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. Um, but to see hopefully that we don't have to go through that again because this bullpen in the playoffs with all the weapons that they have, even if a couple of them go down, they are that's a nasty combination that they have.
And the six-man rotation's gotta stick to a six-man rotation. You can't have, kinda like, like Jack Flaherty, he'd go like 5, 6 innings, then this next start, he's only going like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
That totally screws up the six-man rotation,
yeah,
right there. You gotta have your pitchers, pitch a minimum of 6 to 7 innings for that to really work,
yeah,
or else you are going to beat down your relievers throughout the season.
yeah. Well, and that's where they're gonna definitely need to get that, OKC Express going with guys like Knack and Robleski. Those
Mhm,
guys need to get whether it starts or long relief or something like that. Because if there's one instance where or a couple 2 days in a row, let's say, Glasnow and, Otani for some reason both have bad games in a row, you gotta get those other guys up right away, and they
mhm,
have to be there to really they're sometimes it's to eat a game, right? Thank you, Brett Honeywell. Yeah,
right?
invaluable.
And
Absolutely.
Landon Knack.
Yeah, absolutely. And what Knack, he what? He finished that game 4 with what, 3 innings, wasn't it?
Mhm, yeah.
Those are those types of things are so important. And to see, yeah, and realizing that sometimes and it was the weirdest to see it in playoff games to go, sometimes you just go, "Well, yes, we would like to win, but we're not going to fry everything to
Mhm.
try to come back 3 or 4 or 5 down and then not be ready for the next game." I mean, Dave Roberts, the way that pins and needles, I'm sure, in game 5.
Right.
I mean, because Trinan was gonna be out. He would not have been available for a game 6. There's no way. And the rest of the guys were fried. It was Yamamoto's gonna have to go 7 or 8, you know? Not that he couldn't.
I think you're gonna see a really good Yamamoto this year.
I agree. I'm excited. I
I'm
think
really excited for him this year.
yeah. I mean, for a guy that through the adjustments, his ERA was what, still 3?
Mhm.
And then he got better in the playoffs.
He's gonna be the sleeper pitcher who's gonna be considered for the Cy Young this year.
Mm. Yeah, I got Snell right now winning this sucker. I just think he's
Yeah.
gonna that dude, isn't it cool to see a guy that is just so happy to be a Dodger?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's
I
just
mean
going, "This is the I'm gonna put stuff on Instagram all the time. I'm gonna talk this and that." Oh, hey, everyone, by the way, Josh from Dodgers Explicit took a picture with Blake Snell. Go to the
did
Dodgers.
really.
Yeah, they're boy, they look like brothers, man. They do. Go look at it. He was able to do that. I told Josh, man, we got to find a way to get you in the clubhouse because I think the clubhouse is gonna say something. It's like,
Yeah.
huh? But yeah, I think Snell is just gonna go off. I think, yeah, Yamamoto. Um, what we saw from him in the postseason was just phenomenal.
Yes.
It's like, oh. That's what we paid for.
He's more comfortable.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
more comfortable, a little bit more confident. I think he came in here a little gun shy in his first few games that he had, because I think that he felt the expectations,
Yeah.
of the city on him. Hey, we paid you all this money, you better perform. And that's the worry that I have for Sasaki also.
Mhm.
And that's why I've been tweeting out, quite a bit, ever since I said, you got to give this kid, a chance. He's never finished a full season in the MPB.
Right.
He's either gone out because the coaches, were complaining about his durability, and the way that he got ready for the season, and they had to take him out for like a month, to get his stamina back up.
Yeah.
Or, the following year when he was having problems with blisters on his fingers, on his throwing hand, they had to take him out. This past year, when he had some mysterious arm injury, that they never made public or never disclosed, but, he was out, I think it was like 2 months,
Mm.
and he was not able to play, and his velocity was down.
Yep.
His spin rate was down after he came back. So the Dodgers are going to have to take a look at him, and really be careful with him and not put a whole lot of pressure, on the kid and let him get used to it because the ball is different in
Yeah.
over there. It's tackier than a major league ball, and the seams are different. So his grip on the ball is going to be a lot different. I've mentioned this quite a bit. And everybody's like, well, he pitched in the WBC, with a major league ball. How often did he pitch?
Right. It's 7 innings total.
He's going to have to come out on a 6-man rotation, and go 7 innings, a game. So that's a little bit different than coming in for like 1 inning or an inning and a half, and striking out like 2 or 3 guys, that's there. So,
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that's gonna also fix the 6-man rotation is when Ohtani reaches 20 innings,
mhm,
because then all of a sudden he counts as a bother, and he really, um, they'll bring they'll be able to bring up another pitcher
mhm,
so that he won't count against versus when they start the season, he will count against the 13. So as soon as he gets to 20 innings, all of a sudden we don't have to worry about 7 innings and all that stuff, and if they're gonna have to do that, man, I don't want Tyler Snow anywhere close to that opening day rotation. I want him wait till wait till at least Otani's back, because I think guys like Glasnow need to limit it to 80
oh
pitches.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just that's what he
yeah.
is. Piggyback him with somebody. There's gotta be something to work through that, 'cause, yeah, if these guys are all throwing 5 innings and, you know.
I think a good match for Glasnow, somebody to match up good with him is Casparius.
Yeah, yeah. If there's room for Ben, that's part of the
Mm,
thing, is looking at the starting pitching and looking at the bullpen, there's not a lot of room. I think, of course, this is granted that there's no injuries. We know the first heck, man, last year, even before the season started, I remember FanFest. Nick Frasso is out for the year
right?
with the frayed shoulder or whatever it was. It's like, holy crap, I just saw the guy. And all of a sudden we see that. Like, oh my gosh. And then Sheehan went down. It just and I like to, my whole thing is you can never have enough pitching.
Yep.
I remember dealing with people last year, and I still see the same thing again. I'm going, I want another guy. I want Snell. I want someone like that. I just want pitching, pitching, pitching. Oh, we have enough pitching. Oh no, no, you don't. You never have enough. We found that out. The Dodgers won it by the skin of their teeth in an amazing way. But holy smokes, you see it again. Well, maybe they could trade Dustin May or Gonsolin and all that. Gonsolin's going to slide in right really well as the number 5 or number 6 pitcher, and we're going to get some good innings from him. The
Mhm,
6-man rotation is so perfect for a guy like him,
mhm.
because he would always wear out. And but even doing the quick maths and stuff, it's still 27 starts for a guy for over the six-man rotation. It's still that.
Yep.
And so and even if you go with 27 times 6 in those innings, it gets you right back to 162. That's 162. So that means guys would need to throw 162 innings. So I'm going, well, that's why you have the injured list. You put Glasnow on that right at the beginning of the season. Let that. I mean, it was really fun to watch him pitch when he was a when he was really good, striking out 14, all that stuff. But I still remember tweeting, "Why is he pitching so many pitches? Why is he pitching so many?" Let him pitch. Do you guys understand that he is not a 180 inning guy?
Yeah.
Most of these guys aren't. And that's why the Landon Knacks, Jason Robleskis, Ben Kasparius, they're going to be really important on this team, I think.
Oh, definitely. We saw what they did. Especially in 2024. Um, it's God, I can't remember the exact totals of how many different pitchers that the Dodgers had.
It's over
All
40.
yeah, and even Oklahoma, tweeted some stuff out that this was the most pitchers that they've lost to come up, in a single season. And it was good. It shows the farm system and what they have, the coaching staff, the pitching staff that we have in the minors. That they prepare these kids, super well, and they're able to come up and actually get it done.
Yeah. And then our number 3 starter last year vanished, named Bobby Miller.
Yep.
I haven't given up. It's like, how can he go from being pretty darn good to being just so bad? Yeah, I
And
think it's physical. I know there's mental, we've talked about that, right? He needs the coach to come out right away if anything goes bad, but there must have been even more physically.
watching him and Pep, because and this, you know,
Mhm.
I think the Dodgers made the wrong mistake in trading the wrong person. And I get it, Pepio doesn't have the velocity,
Right.
that Miller has. I just watching them because I watch almost every night.
Yeah.
The games on my computer. So I see them pitch quite a bit, and Ryan was a little bit more consistent. He was a little bit more mature. He wasn't as much of a hothead. He
Yeah.
was able to paint the corners, a little bit better. So I actually wish they would have kept, and I think he proved when they both came up. In my opinion, he was a better pitcher than Bobby Miller when they both came up.
Yeah, it was just that high upside that's
Yeah.
there, and the Dodgers love that. I understand it. Pep had a nice year over there
Mhm.
in Tampa, and he had some type of weird
Bug bite.
bug bite. Yeah. I'm like, "What the
Yeah.
heck?" But, um, yeah, there's no way that Bobby Miller is an 8 X ERA guy. There's just no way. Um, there's a Bobby Miller needs to focus on baseball, not his girlfriend. Hey, you know what? I remember talking to a guy a long time ago when I was a young guy. He said there's 4 things that get you in the way for walk with God, which could be anything or anything else. Cars, cash, career, and cuties.
Yeah.
And cuties definitely are a distraction. And that's just whatever. I don't know what the whole situation is. I do know his girlfriend's like really popular on TikTok and stuff, which is back after a few hours down. I was one of the first, I think, to get back on there. I don't do much there because I just do the Dodgers 2080 stuff, um, but yeah, she's a big deal over there. I just man, and Bobby's he's a good kid. He's
He
a
is.
you think you kind of look at him and go, what is he? Is he some Jersey Shore guy? And no, he's really nice.
He
And
is.
so, and I think I just hope that he can get back to it. Because man, that would just makes the rotation better.
Yep. Lost you, Tim. You're back, but you don't have any sound.
The
There you
the
are.
the mute button came on me. It's like, oh, there's
Oh.
yeah. It's like, wait, I didn't ask for the mute button. Yeah, it disconnected and then back. Uh, but if they have Miller, you can go and you can make moves if you have to. Now, of course, Bleed Lows put it, or your Dodger Beat guys put it out there again and again and again, which is good. Andrew Friedman saying we don't want to make trades in July.
Right.
They don't want to have to go and go get more. And so I agree with that. I would actually like to go, here comes trade deadline and we don't care.
Right.
We just want to see how many future stars the Padres will trade away or something like that,
I just want to see a healthy pitching staff.
Yeah.
That's, you're going to lose like one, maybe two.
Yeah.
But not like half of your staff, before the All-Star break.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm still just a little bit in shock about Stone and Ryan.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Huh? Dang. I mean, Gavin Stone led the team in innings pitched.
Yeah.
And
what was everybody saying in 2023?
Oh, they wanted to get rid of him because of about what, 3 bad starts or 4 bad starts,
Yeah.
or something like that. Like, what? Time out.
And I remember us tweeting all the time, give the kid a chance. He's much better than what you think he is.
I always go back to Mike Trout's debut. He sucked the first month or whatever he was in the major leagues. But you know why? Baseball's really hard.
It is.
And to sit there and go, oh, a young guy's just going to come up. He just wasn't ready. Remember, in 2023, just like 2024 and 2022, a lot of guys were rushed up. Grove in 2022 was rushed up. All of a sudden, what? Michael Grove's getting, because remember, he skipped AAA. And then Stone, he hadn't even had a good anything. He had a couple good spring training starts, but had a bad start at OKC, and the Dodgers were promoting him. He wasn't ready. So, you got to go. And then the year at 2022, people were like, oh, Papio sucks. And 2023, the guy was, by September, was our best pitcher. And should have started one of those playoff games, Captain Obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you just see that. Now, then there's the other side. River Ryan came and looked so good. And that's what just makes me even sicker because, gosh, all those young guys that are out. I mean, there's so much talent there, and
if he doesn't make it as a pitcher,
back to shortstop.
He is an amazing shortstop.
I still remember when I first met him. It was in 2022, and it was his first day out there, and I just, hey, you're the guy traded for Matt Beatty, and they were playing the Storm that day, and we were talking a little. He goes, yeah, that should have been me over at shortstop. That would have been me this year, which is interesting. But yeah, River, he was legit looking good. That guy was gonna, yeah. But hopefully these guys can come back in 2026. We'll see about Sheehan.
Kyle Hurt.
Yeah, Kyle Hurt. I think he's out for the whole year, right? But Sheehan,
he comes back with Sheehan.
Does he? I thought he was out longer than that. Well, let's hope so, because I thought Kyle Hurt was going to be a huge part of the bullpen this year.
Me too.
He just kind of has that bullpen part. He just looks like a bullpen stud.
I was watching the game when he blew his arm out.
Dang.
It was bad.
Just way too much. Now, have you heard anything about Frasso? I mean, we know he had shoulder surgery.
I heard that it's all going to be depending on his spring training.
Okay.
On what his role is going to be. I think he's going to be starting over in Oklahoma before the season, and it's all going to be depending on his because this is kind of like his rehab portion of it now,
Okay.
of coming in, and this is the same with Sheehan and Kyle Hurt. Um, from my understanding and the things that I've seen is this is going to be like their rehab half of the season before they're even considered to maybe come up and be with the major league teams. So I think Oklahoma is going to be full
Yeah.
of pitches, and they're going to be that you know oh Clayton Kershaw's here, oh we're seeing Bobby Miller again, and oh Vessia's here, and and that rotation of injured players, and oh but we got Yamamoto today, for
Yeah.
3 games, so I kind of see Oklahoma kind of doing the same thing again this
Yeah.
year with those things.
Because Frasso was a labrum, right? And,
Yes.
and I remember, people don't want to bring up his name, but I will. Julio Urias, when he fried his shoulder, I'm going to say it was June
Hmm.
of 2017, and he wasn't back in the major leagues until September of 2018.
Hmm. Yeah, he was out for over a year.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching all of, I think, yeah, I saw all of his rehab starts. In fact, he was the first major leaguer I ever got a chance to talk to in terms of an interview in the locker room after one of those. And yeah, and his velocity took a while to come back, but then it did come back by the end of the year. But Frasso's a guy that relies on that. He's got that huge 98, 99. I
Yeah.
call him the right-handed Alex Wood, all those arms and legs coming at you with all sorts of weirdness coming, good luck to the batters.
Exactly.
Good Lord. That's just a lot of stuff coming at you. And, yeah, I mean, you look at the Dodgers top 30 and you got 4 or 5 guys on there that are out for
Yeah.
at least a good majority of 2025, if not all.
That's another reason why I want to get over to the first week when the
Yeah.
catchers and pitchers report and see who's actually there.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your reports. That's for sure. Hopefully, I would recommend to Roger that he has you do a report every night. That's what I'm just saying.
Well, I'm gonna be actually I'm gonna be live streaming. Quite
Oh, even better.
almost every day that I'm there.
Oh,
So
that'll be great. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah,
Yeah, because man, it's coming. What, February 10th, right? Is when they start reporting.
yeah, a few weeks.
Goodness.
Few weeks. I already got my plane ticket.
Awesome. I still remember last year.
I bought a new camera and lens too.
Nice. Ready to rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
Last year, FanFest Saturday, Shohei spring training. He was already there like the next day or the day after. And I expect a lot of Dodgers to do that this year. I think that they're going to get there before February 10th.
Hmm.
Quite a few of these guys. Mike Lopez bringing up some guys. Yeah, we talked about Eric
Yep.
Karros' son, but Jose Rodriguez, that
Yeah.
he posted that he got an NRI. He's invited to spring training. I know that we both had a chance to see him at Rancho.
Hmm.
Talk about another, a lot of arms and legs, and he also turns his back to you too. There's
Hmm.
man, he's hiding that ball and he's throwing in the high 90s, and it's he's 6'6", 6'7". He's bringing everything at you. That's a guy I'm pretty fired up about too. Thanks for bringing that up,
Yeah.
Mike
Yeah.
Lopez.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when we were there and he pitched, and we're both sitting behind the catcher when he's doing his warm up and hearing the snap of that dang catcher's glove when he threw that ball in there. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was funny with him. First of all, a couple times I called him Julio. But also, I'm like, I was, kind of like, he's from Mexico, and I did the assumption that he didn't speak much English. Hey, interview in Espanol. He goes, "What are you talking about? Let's do it in English." His English is really strong.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was able to do that because, well, I know you guys do. You guys got a Japanese channel going now?
Just started it yesterday.
That's a strong move. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I've had my guy Trinidad or Alex. They'll do interviews just in Spanish. Just I don't have obviously a Spanish channel because no habla español at
Yep.
all.
Yeah.
Not much.
I hear you.
And but yeah, just to it was kind of cool though that he was able to do that. Another one I keep thinking of because I interviewed him too, but also just he's been a favorite of mine since he first came up was Peter Hubick. I think he's a guy that's he's getting that the man strength.
A lot of upside to him.
Yeah. And his curveball's nasty um and he's a tall kid, but he was, I would say, he was probably coming at you at, 6'2", 6'3", about $160. But I think he's getting bigger now. And he's drafted, he was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's shoot, why was was he eligible for the Rule 5? I don't think he was, but if he was, he should have been taken.
Yeah.
Well, Jose Rodriguez was eligible for it. That would have been a guy I would have considered.
Yes.
Let's see. Mike Lopez talking about we got Edgardo throwing hard. Yeah, Ronaldo Yeen, Ronan Kopp. Ronan seemed to take a step backwards this year. He shifted purely to being a reliever.
Mm-hmm.
The person who broke that to me was his dad. It's always his dad's such a good dude. And then Ronaldo, I mean, God, you see how I always get back behind the catcher in between innings. It's a little scary with Ronaldo. You can see the extra.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of time. He's a 20-year-old kid. He's a 20-year-old kid. But yeah, there's some guys who can throw really freaking hard, and it's just a matter of getting it together. I mean, Edgardo's obviously the one furthest along, but oh man, maybe Yeen's gonna really step it up this year.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we will see.
Yeah, man, I'm starting to get excited. I got to be honest with you, Mike. I've been so high from this World Series win.
Oh, me too.
I can't get over it. I still wear a Dodger polo every day to work when I go in, and when I go to church, I wear one. I'm in San Diego, man. I'm subtle about it, but I gotta let them have it in my own way.
Well, I'm still, once a week, look at the Sportsnet LA guide, and when they're playing the World Series, I still go and watch it.
Yeah.
Game 5.
Understood. My favorite video that I've seen so far, though, it's over an hour long, but it's the year in highlights.
Yes, yeah, I saw
Every
that.
Dodger highlight. Oh, that is so good.
That was
It's like
good.
you just remember things like, oh yeah. I mean, James Outman with a couple of amazing catches out there.
Yes.
Just to go, hey, everyone contributed to this season. I know there's 26 guys on that World Series roster, but when
River Ryan, when that ball got hit out and he goes and chases it and throws it underneath, and Dave Roberts is like, "What did I just see?"
Oh,
and
yeah.
throws a line to first base to Freddie Freeman.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just to see all those contributions from so many different players. I mean, when your World Series roster doesn't have Evan Phillips, Tyler Glasnow, Gavin Stone, I'm missing other people right away. Even Jason Hayward's contributions. A lot of guys contributed all through the year.
Mm-hmm.
And just to go, man, we weren't even close to full strength, especially with the pitching. But I think one of my favorite things about this team, and even about the fans this last year, we weren't making a lot of excuses.
Nope.
I mean, I didn't see Twitter firing. Well, oh, the Dodgers, we have an injury. I mean, after the Dodgers beat the Padres, one of the first things I heard out of a Padre fan's mouth was, "Well, if we didn't lose Musgrove," and I go, "Really, really? That you're talking to me, a Dodger fan, about injuries?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear me even bring one up to you all year? No. Well, yeah, because we don't make excuses. There's no reason to. But let's see. Let's see. I just want to. I know we've kind of covered all a lot of topics
Yep.
just by kind of hitting things a little bit, especially the first and third. I want to get to maybe our 2026 third baseman.
Okay.
Let me try it again. Ready? Munetaka Murakami.
Yep.
So he becomes eligible after 2025. Is that the case?
Yes, this is his last year in the MPB.
Okay.
That he will uh, fulfill his obligations of going the 5-year route and being able to be eligible as a free agent, like Yamamoto did.
I got to hit. So explicit just came in. I got to do this real quick.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Is that Josh or Ram out there? Josh, we saw the picture, man. We love it. It's you. Yeah, go. Let's continue on Murakami.
So he's definitely a very good third baseman. He won Rookie of the Year and MVP in Japan. Some other things. He set records for the most home runs for Japanese players in the MPB. He was the youngest Japanese player to hit 100 career home runs, and also was part of the Olympic team. His first draft pick. He was the first draft pick in 2017, and did very well in the minors. And yeah, he's a solid hitter. His bat speed is really good. His he can run. He can steal bases. The most home runs he's had, in I think it was his second or third season in the NPB. He got up to 36 home runs with 74 walks. He has 96. He had 96 RBIs, during that season. So his fielding percentage is a .994, which is pretty decent. Really good. What was some of the other things in regards to it? His RFG was at 2.24. So he's kind of like a Muncie. He's able to play the position. He's able to move. He's got a little bit more speed than Muncie does. His arm strength's a little bit better. And being a little bit younger. And third base was his position. And he can hit, man. He can hit the ball. So what are we used to Muncie? Hitting.
Yep.
28,
He's a lucky swinger, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So he'd be a solid, good pickup. I think he'd be a good pickup for the Dodgers. I think he's going to be he would be a very solid, third baseman. I've been talking about this guy for even when I was working with Casey over at Dodgers Beat. When I first was turning everybody on to him. And since everybody's on the we were the first. Well, Casey and I were the first to show everybody Yamamoto and Sasaki.
Yeah.
Over 2.5 years ago.
Awesome.
So and that's very good. So he's just a solid guy, very consistent. His fourth year, at in the league, his numbers dropped off a bit, and but he got those back up. So
with him, since he wouldn't be coming in like Sasaki did, where he takes that minor league deal.
No, he comes in as free agent.
He's going to be a real free agent, so they're going to have to bid for him. And we don't know this. I don't know this guy from Adam in terms of personality. What I've learned is from you. But is he going to come? What type of contracts he going to require? There was
I don't think he's going to come in, super expensive.
Okay.
I think he would take like an average, maybe to above average contract for an infielder. Maybe, 50, 60 million over, 4 or 5 years, whatever they decide to give him. I don't see him, demanding a whole lot. He's a very good teammate from all the things that I've seen. Um, I got one of those, illegal sticks, so I'm able to watch the MPB,
Okay.
when they play. So I've watched him quite a bit, just like I've watched Sasaki and Yamamoto play quite a bit. So that's how I'm able to um, feel confident in when I talk about them. So, like I said, yeah, he's a very solid player.
Okay.
He's a very reliable third baseman who's got very good lateral movement, very good vertical movement also. And again, just like any other international player, that's come in, he'll need time. If the Dodgers pick him up to be able to adjust. Unlike uh, the kid who went to Stanford, I don't know his first name,
I don't.
Sasaki.
Yeah.
Who's the first baseman? He's actually signing and going to Stanford is giving him that much more of an up, than the guys coming straight out of the NPB, because he's used to the ball, he's used to the
Right.
speed, you know, and it'll be not that much more of an adjustment for him, and I actually see him being Freddie Freeman's replacement at some point.
Mm. Yeah. Well, Freddie's got at least 3 more years.
Yeah,
I think Freddie will, he'll give it a shot. He's gonna try to chase 3,000, I believe, and it may not be with the Dodgers. And to be honest, whatever he does the rest of his Dodger career, that's the best money
yeah,
it's historic. He goes down in Dodger history. Um, just for that. I mean, we're gonna be talking about, I'll be talking about that till the day I die. Hopefully it's a while, but our kids, our grandkids, they're gonna know of that home run, just like the Kirk Gibson home run.
mhm,
That's generational. It'll be shown on highlights forever and ever, and it should be. It's I still remember Carlton Fisk hitting his home run in the 12th inning of Game 6 in 1975.
right,
I would remember it even more if the Red Sox would have won because I was rooting for
mhm,
them because I hated the Reds. They were a competition back then. That was a division rival back then. Man, that was a good team. Oh my
yes.
god, the big red machine. But okay, that's good about just good to know where Murakami stands and where he's at right now.
And just to answer explicit. Yeah, I see him, good 6, 7 years as a third baseman. He's only 25 years old. He'll be 25 this year, and when he comes out, he's still solid. He hasn't had like a whole lot of injuries, no arm injuries, just some nagging aches and pains, that kept him out of a couple of games. But nothing very serious in regards to. He's a very durable player. Like I said, a solid player with a really good arm who can throw that ball, pretty good, and that can get to the ball, when it's hit into those gaps and down the line.
Yeah. How have you seen him get a chance on balls coming in? I know that's been one of those things with Muncie where, well, before last year, he's really struggled with those. Probably
Mhm.
because he had too much in the gut.
He's good with that.
Yeah.
He's got a solid frame. He's a big dude.
Mhm.
He's not small.
Yeah.
So he, he- he's a taller version of Max Muncy. Yes, he could drop a few pounds. No doubt about it. So he can be able to last a little bit longer. Because the major league season is longer than the MPB season.
Yeah.
And it's not as rigorous. The travel isn't like it is, here in the majors, than it is in Japan. So, so yeah, he could drop a few pounds. That'll increase his speed. Especially going. I don't remember his stats in regards to how many stolen bases that
Yeah.
he had. But he's got some wheels to him. He could steal bases. Pretty good.
Yeah, I think, my concern with that, now that you bring it up, coming over to America to lose weight,
Yeah.
uh-oh. All that clean Japanese food and coming to eat our stuff. Hopefully, it gets a little bit cleaner, but man, the American diet, jeez, it's terrible. It's so good, though.
Yeah.
It's so good, but it's so bad. So, that would actually be a little bit of a concern for me. he would have to deal with that. But the Dodgers are very good at that. I mean, we see it right with Rancho. They got that trailer out in the parking lot, in the media parking lot, where they cook lunch and dinner for those guys every day that they're there.
Yeah,
they take care of their players. And
I hope that goes to Ontario with them.
Oh, it sounds like Ontario is going to be amazing. Just
right.
I hate it for Rancho because I love those guys that run the show, and they've been very good to me. But this is going to be a huge first class organization, first class ballpark. We're going to just, oh man, what I really hope, man, build a big media center again.
Yes.
I mean, back before all this pandemic, we used to have the press box.
It'd be nice to get out of the dugout every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I like the dugout, but yeah, well, you see me, so I leave more than you do because I'm just like, oh, I got it. I'm just not comfortable after a while. My back's killing me, and I've shot enough, Let's see. So so we're talking about Muncie and defense a bit, and it was like the second question I had up: do the Dodgers have enough defense? Now I'll even break this up. Do they have enough defense for the first 7 innings versus the last 2?
That's a good one because I questioned the defense portion of it. I'm not, like everybody's talked about, I'm not like the hugest fan of Mookie Betts going to shortstop. In my opinion, it's I think it's a Mookie thing. Saying, yeah, I stunk it up. I shouldn't use the word stink. I wasn't that good last year, and I want to prove to everybody that I can play the position. This team doesn't need that right now.
Yeah.
What they need is for him to go to second base and be the second baseman, that we all know that he's going to be, which is a Golden Glover.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a Golden Glover at shortstop. His offense is going to suffer,
Right.
playing the shortstop position, and we need his bat because he's going to be more worried about, mistakes that he's making. Did he make the right throw? That throw was off, and then him and Rojas are down in the dugout, talking like they normally do, and he's getting coaching and mentorship, as the game's going on, and so when he goes up to bat, he's not going to be, that great. I'd like to see Rojas and Tommy Edman platoon there at shortstop. Tommy Edman has proved that he is legit and he can play that position very well. He can play it better than Mookie Betts. And I actually think that Tommy Edman is a much better second baseman than Mookie Betts also.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and it's explicit brought it up. Mookie, when he went to right field, first of all, it was like he'd never left.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a difference maker even in the playoffs. The way he would play the ball, I mean, especially when you compare him to Juan Soto. I mean, Juan Soto is just kind of flailing away out there. Mookie Betts taking all the right angles when the ball gets in the corner, grabbing the ball correctly and putting himself into, as he grabs it, putting himself into position to make the right throw, which is that's that elite skill. And my concern with Mookie at short, of course, and it relates to him wearing out, he's going to work his butt off to do this, which will wear him out. And it might have happened this year, but unfortunately, he got hurt, which sat him down for 2 months. And that might have saved his body. And, I don't want guys getting hurt, obviously. And obviously, I didn't like Freddie the way he had to not play, but that actually saved them a little bit. These guys, remember the last 2 years, these guys were kind of done by the end of the year. Versus this year, they spent time on the injured list, time off, and all that stuff, and they seem to be once Freddie got the right dosage of whatever he needed, he was able to go there. and be ready. And Mookie was, after the first couple of bad games in where he was struggling, and then he hit 290 over the whole playoffs and was instrumental. Him and Kike were so instrumental in just about every little rally that was out there. The grounder in the 5th inning, but also the game-winning sacrifice fly.
Right.
And who was one of the guys who scored 2 runs in those innings? It was Kike, and then Mookie scored the one in one in the 5th also. But just being in the middle of everything versus the previous 2 years, he wasn't. And him just being him being fresh and healthy, gosh, you can't put a price on that.
No,
he's such a great player.
And I agree with explicit. Definitely the shortstop position and the center field position, is a concern. And that's where the James Outman thing comes up into play again. If he's able to perform like he did in 2023, during spring training, and have the breakout year that he had, if he's able to repeat that, then he's a solid shortstop, or not shortstop, center fielder. Alex Freeland, I like the kid. I just don't think that he's like super ready, to come up in my opinion.
I agree.
I think putting that pressure on somebody like that, and asking him to play, the biggest spotlight besides pitcher, in the infield is the shortstop, and putting him in that position. I think that, and he didn't do very well. I think he regresses quite a bit. So building him up. I see him playing a lot in spring training at the shortstop position, and getting some time in and getting some work in, there. And I hope to see him come up, and actually get some playing time, just so he can prove to see, and we can all see, what he truly is.
Yeah, I mean, last year's statistics were heavily padded by his numbers at Great Lakes. But they like the peripherals that they see, and he's another kind of flavor of the month. But I'd like to see if he could stick. The tools. He is relatively fast. He's got some pop. He is a switch hitter, but he is much better from the left side.
Yes.
I haven't seen any advanced statistics though on him at shortstop. So my eye test goes, well, he kind of looks built like Brandon Crawford. Now, if he can play shortstop like Brandon Crawford used to play, I'll take it, because that guy was awesome. Despite the fact he had the hair. Gosh, how much grease can you get in your hair, my man? I mean, geez. But I'm just not. So I'm still waiting to see a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing him play a full year of OKC, or at least close to it, before he gets called up. And I could see him getting a call just for a cup of coffee. But without the 40-man call up that they used to have, it makes it a little tougher. But I'd like to see him at least get his feet on the ground, really get into it with Oklahoma City, really show a lot, bring his value up, and maybe he comes into 2026 as a competitor for the shortstop position, because Mookie's 32, and so okay, maybe we do 1 year of this. And I agree with you about he's trying to prove himself, and that's why Mookie's Mookie. So I'm not gonna get out explicit.
See you, man. Have a good night.
It's one of those things where that's just Mookie.
Yeah.
And I actually think that he can be. I think he could be an above average shortstop. He started already. Last year he started 2 weeks before the season started.
Yeah.
This year it's different, but that doesn't take away the wearing out factor, and the fact that yeah, I do think he's a Gold Glove second baseman. I mean, if he were putting in that work right now at second base,
He get a Gold Glove this year,
yeah, absolutely.
no doubt.
But there's just the fact that he's been so willing to be versatile. I still remember in 2023, one of the few games where I got a press pass, and Dave Roberts just talked about Mookie and goes how valuable he was coming in to play second base, doing a little bit of shortstop in 2023, just off the cuff. Now
Yeah.
we know that Mookie likes to take grounders. He's always been doing that. But to go into game speed without spring training or with that and playing a decent second base, yeah, he made a few errors and stuff like that, but we know he can do it. And in terms of his future, maybe that is where second base is where I would have put him going into the season.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like you, I love Teo and Wright. That was the I think that's it. I think part of the reason for Mookie going in, I think first was to go, hey, I'll go to shortstop so it doesn't offend Gavin Lux. No, I actually think that I think there was a little bit of factor into that, but also going, hey, Teo's going to play right field, so Mookie's going to play infield, just where. So I still think it's a little fluid. I think we still could see him at second. We'll see. I don't know, man. I get nervous. I just think the defense would be so much better with Edman and Rojas at short, and it just especially
Yes.
Muncy is 35. Yeah,
Yes.
even though he's still not close to the 10 years. He's still got at least 2 more years, I think, before he gets his 10-year. Because he was an older dude when he broke in with the Dodgers, and
Yeah.
what did he break in? But who'd have thought, man? Max Muncy is definitely, Chris Taylor and Max Muncy, Farhan Zaidi. You get, you know how to find those guys. You just don't know how to sign Arson Judge. But yeah.
Yeah.
So the defense concerns me. Conforto should be fine, but if Paja's in center, I'd much rather have Outman out there. That's for sure.
Well, I think Paz is good. I'm pretty sure that they pretty much made it known where he's going to be at this year. That they're going to put him out in center field.
Yeah.
I think he's probably working his butt off, to have a better performance than he did this past year.
Yeah.
And I'm not on that bandwagon, to where it's like, he was he horrible? No. Did he need work? Yes, he needs work. But people need to realize is he came right off an injury, missed all of 2022. This was going to be his 2023.
Yeah.
And this was going to be his year. That was going to be his breakout year in the minors.
Right.
And he came straight up after like what he did in spring training and his first month or two in the minors, and when he was crushing it, and they just brought him right up.
Hey, and I just don't recall because I'm old. What position was he playing at OKC?
Center field.
He was playing center. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm sure he's a hard worker. He's a guy that really he turned himself into more of an athletic player.
Yes.
He reworked his body and made himself into a better athlete. So hopefully I'd love to. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to see more guys that are Dodger products, Dodger signees, draftees and all that, IFAs.
Yep.
Making it. And so that's, I got a little special thing for Outman. It was one of the reasons I didn't want to trade Lux, just because of that. It's a dumb reason. I mean, really it's about winning. But yeah, I think I was looking back, Pies didn't get a chance to even play in the World Series.
No.
Didn't get anything. But he played against the Mets, played against the Padres, hit some home runs. I have high hopes for him. And if he could play some center field and put Tommy Tanks at short and Mookie at second with Outman, because then put Outman in center field then in the 8th or 9th inning.
And I actually kind of think, and just let me comment to hepatitis C, real quick. Yeah, we had Dodgers beat have already recognized that and kind of put some stuff on it that Sasaki is going to be wearing number 11,
Yep.
and Rojas is going back to number 72.
Yeah, that's his.
That's
That
his
was when
original
he. That
number.
was when he stopped that. He saved the no hitter.
Yeah, but I think Pages was a little intimidated by Teoscar because you see the way that they reacted with one another. You know,
Yeah.
when he would go for the ball and Teoscar would kind of give him grief when he wouldn't get called off because he wanted the ball instead of him and stuff. So I think he was a little bit intimidated out there in center field, with Teoscar a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah, you saw that for sure. And I remember talking with Roger about that. He saw they had a really good relationship though. They were
Mhm.
very close.
Yeah,
They would actually study the Bible together and things like that. So really cool stuff. It's one of those. Hey, I'm the elder,
right.
and I think he respected that.
Hmm.
And maybe this year it'll be more of a more where Teo gives him a little bit more respect. And I think Teo also being uncomfortable in left did not help.
Yeah,
You and I both talked about it, about Teo, the way he would approach some of those balls in left. I actually think he was tentative because he just wasn't comfortable.
yeah.
I'm gonna assume the best from him. How about that? So I
I
expect
hope he's not as lazy in right field as he was
right.
in left field.
Yeah, like I said, I use the word tentative, but if he does it in right field, then it's definitely lazy.
Yes.
Can't be. I mean, but he's overall obviously glad to have Teo back. I mean,
Yeah.
again, watching that highlight reel, there's so much Teo in there. So
Oh,
many game-winning hits.
I hope his bat stays the same.
I do too. I know. And it's one of those things where
It was a proving year this year,
yeah,
so you got to keep it going.
yep. And he's elevated himself to a point where it's like, hey, this guy, if he can keep doing what he's doing, he's going to start a couple more All-Star games.
Yep.
Because now he's not how do you say his name in Toronto? No, he is Teoscar Hernandez. He's a world champion. He's a very important contributor to the world champion Dodgers, the home run contest king. I mean, hit that two-run double. Hit him and the Hernandez brothers getting the home runs off of Darvish to help
Mhm.
win that game. He was all over the place during that team, and he has a chance now to get a lot of extra things, which would mean for the rest of his life it will pay off for him
Oh,
being
definitely, definitely.
versus who is this guy? How do you say his name? Oh, Teoscar. Oh, okay. I mean, really, it was kind of like, who cares about this guy? He's just a Toronto or Mariner scrub. He was pretty good in Toronto, but with the Mariners, he was just sucked because of the ballpark. That was part of it.
Mhm.
Um, but I expect him. Hey, just play average defense in right field. We'll be in good shape. And worst case, we could take him out the ninth inning and put that guy named Mookie Betts out there if we
Don't let that bat slack off. Keep
right.
that bat hot.
Yeah. Yeah. The good thing is the Dodgers can absorb it if they had to. But yeah, overall, I mean, come on. Well, let's just be honest. A+ off season
Go.
again,
A plus plus.
2 years in
Yeah.
a row.
Yeah. I mean, Cody and I were, in our group chat, is this the best off season, in Dodger history? Can we actually say that? And it's just like, sure. I can't go back that far, but this is a pretty dang good off season, in my recent memory that I can remember that the Dodgers have done, and the amount of players that they picked up, it's it. And I don't think it's just the Guggenheim group, I think it's
Right.
It's Magic Johnson also, you
Yeah.
know. He's a winner. He's a winner. He wants to win, and he's going to do everything that he can, to help win. So
Well, and it's a really good point because I still remember when they were bidding the whole bids for the Dodgers, and Hershiser was part of a group. Steve Garvey was part of a group,
mhm.
but Magic Johnson was part of a group. And you know, we know Magic. We saw that guy as a rookie. We saw him play center in game 6 against the 76ers. Well, no one saw it because it was on tape delay back in the day when no one cared. But that dude's a winner.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a huge competitor despite how sappy and stupid his tweets are. He's so boring. But man, at the end of the day, he loves to win. And I go right to it. Go, the best thing that group had was Stan Kasten.
Mm-hmm.
And this channel I'm going to start putting out videos about pushing for Stan Kasten for the Hall of Fame. That
Yeah.
dude is amazing. He's the one that helped put the Braves together.
Mm-hmm.
He actually got the Nationals going. He got the Atlanta Hawks going back in the day. I mean, this guy's been doing this he was doing the Hawks and Braves, I think, at the same time. And he's been so instrumental with the Dodgers. He was the one that, made the tough call and moved Ned Colletti out. That couldn't have been an easy thing. Ned Colletti was no bum.
No.
I thought he was a pretty freaking good GM.
Oh, definitely.
And I know the chat can argue all day, but that guy was constrained. He was constrained because, to be honest, he should have he had it all lined up to get CC Sabathia in 2008.
And he has a really good eye for talent too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he drafted Clayton Kershaw.
Mm-hmm.
He drafted Matthew Ryan Kemp. He traded for Andre Ethier. He did all those types of things. So to let him go,
Bueller also.
No, that was Friedman.
No, that was Friedman. Yeah, that was Friedman's first. That was his first.
Yeah, it got a little Seager.
Yes, Corey Seager.
So, he was really Ned Colletti was really good, and to move him out was really, in some ways, you go, wow, that's just not right. But Andrew Friedman. And then he brought in Farhan. Farhan still thought he was playing with the A's, Hey, I'm not going to spend any money. Dude, spend money. Farhan had some good moments, but bringing in Andrew Friedman, and Friedman really has built this thing into a monster. And they have what's his name? Dan Clark just had something about the money that they're generating from Japan. It's absolutely absurd.
Yes, it's insane.
I would say like 9/10 of the merch sold in Japan now is Dodgers.
Yeah.
That's
the jerseys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's only gonna be more. We got Sasaki now too.
Yeah.
I mean, so they made the right investments.
For all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Isn't it for all of Major League Baseball?
Well, I don't know how some of that comes about, but the end of the I know what you mean. Yeah. But the Dodgers have the market cornered in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
They're creating a whole generations of Dodger fans there. They've become the spot to be. They made what's the old saying? It takes money to make money.
Yep.
Well, that's true, and they've spent a lot, and they're just going luxury tax, schmuxury tax. We're making it up. While other teams, I looked at that thing. I don't know if you saw that tweet. It showed the revenue for teams for 2023. The Cubs had the third most revenue in all of baseball in 2023. Yankees were first. Yankees lost Juan Soto. How can you do that?
Well, it's and correct me if I'm wrong, the luxury tax, that the Dodgers pay out all gets spread out to all the different teams, and they're not paying for and they're not spending it.
Right.
So the Dodgers are giving them other teams, money every, this year, last year.
Yeah.
And the teams are just sitting on it. They're not doing anything. So that, the finger pointing that the Dodgers are getting, is like unjustified in my opinion. The Dodgers are smart. They have a good front office. They want to win, and it's kind of like what Friedman said. We're doing all this because our fans deserve it. And we're putting the best team together. And this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, they're making hand over fist. They are. And so they're doing everything correct. I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, it's I'd never want to hear it from Yankee fans because George Steinbrenner back in the day spent money like crazy. Now he made a lot of mistakes, but by the time through the late 90s all the way to 2009, they put the money in. They had just won a World Series and they went and traded for Roger Clemens.
Mhm.
That's what you do. They went and signed A-Rod. They went that one year they had an infield every player. And this is back in 2009. Oh, Clint Pasillas in the
What's
house.
up, Clint?
Clint is, as he says, tubing in.
Mm.
But they had an infield of every player was a $20 million a year player. They signed Teixeira and they had Cano and they had Jeter and A-Rod. So I don't want to hear it, Yankee fans. Your owner, your young Steinbrenner, kind of sucks.
Well, it's just like the tweet that I just saw, just recently before we went on, and I don't remember who put it out there, but it was the Padres spent $1.2 billion, just a couple of years ago. So where was everybody's, yelling at, they're breaking baseball?
Sander Bogarts.
Yeah. So it's not like this team is not doing anything that, that the Yankees haven't done. The Mets are spending lots of money, to gather players, and it does help, when you have a group of owners that have a very successful investment firm that know what to do with their money and how to be able to make money so they can spend it. And that's a big bonus also, in regards to that. So it's I don't know. I just, the Dodgers are doing everything right. There's a lot of teams that are out there that could be doing better and that could be spending money to grab some of these players. But, and it also goes to, you have a front office, you have a team that has been proven that they play well together, that they all like each other, that they all want to win together. They have a coach that is a player's coach that supports his players and that'll stand up for them, and has actually done a really good job last season. And players are willing to take less money to come here, to be on a World Series team and to get what every young kid who wants to be a baseball player who dreams about is becoming a World Series champion, and that's what the Dodgers, have built. And now players, look at Sasaki, look at all the players, that went to him, that San Diego, brought out to him. Toronto had more money to spend on him, and he chose the Dodgers. Look at Tanner Scott, what he just did. He took less money to come to the Dodgers and rework some stuff out there. So,
Yeah, and the culture thing. So, I ran into some women's sports podcast, and Ellen
hmm.
Kershaw was on there.
Oh, I saw that.
Wasn't that
That was amazing.
It wasn't it? I mean,
Yes.
talking about how the Dodgers do things, how they take care of their families.
Yes.
They make sure that their families are together and doing this and doing that, keeping all that stuff in mind,
Sure.
all during the season, accommodating this, letting Clayton Kershaw go on the road when he coming home, go home first, spend a
Mhm.
day, and go back to Los Angeles.
They all travel together in the same plane. There's not a
Yeah.
separate plane for the wives, and children to go in. How the Dodgers organization has a special brunch. Wasn't it a brunch
Yeah.
or something like that
Yeah, so
for
crazy
for
stuff.
them,
All
for just
good.
all
Yeah.
the family? So yeah.
Yeah, and then you say, then you remember what the Dodgers did during the playoffs.
Hmm.
They said, "Hey, 3 weeks, 3 weeks of just us." All that credit that the Dodgers were able to build allowed them to do that. Now, I'm sure there was some whining amongst family and going, "Hey, what's going on?" But the Dodgers were able to come together as a team for 3 weeks and do what they did. And this benefits all the families now. They're all
Hmm.
getting, of course, you get a nice little bonus. For some of us, would be game changing for our whole lives. but also, again, it's a legacy. Brent Honeywell should never have to pay for anything in LA ever again.
Right.
And he gave up 50 million runs in game 4 and really didn't like, whoa, wow, he was outstanding. No, he burnt innings, but he was a team guy and did great things. All those guys they're legendary forever and ever. I mean, I don't know if you've seen at Dodger Stadium, man, you see Mickey Hatcher rolling around there at all. He'll come out and he'll just put out his ring. Hey, look, it's really cool. He'll show it to you, and so, yeah, it was amazing to hear that. And then also, I think who else? Shoot. Glasnow talked a little bit about that too, on one of his foul territory things. Shout out to foul territory. Dodgers territory is a show to listen to. That's where Clint and Alana Rizzo are at. But Tyler Glasnow talking about that stuff too. And they've set it up right where no, I don't. You can. I guess other teams can try to match it. Can they really even exceed it? And I got to be honest with you, man. You come to a meeting and you got Manny Machado as your main guy. Sorry, I'm not sold. I'm just not sold. Versus Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts.
No, Miguel Rojas. Look at the inspiration of him.
Yeah.
I don't get to go to the games, the regular season games, because Roger, usually does all that. But the spring training stuff that I go to, this year I'm going to be able to go to quite a few games because we've already kind of discussed it too. I'm going to give him the dates of the away games that I'm going to be going to. And
cool.
just seeing Miguel Rojas in spring training and how he acts, in the locker room is just amazing. And how he interacts with everybody. His presence there is pretty neat.
That reminds me. So, I was I remember being in the spring training, in that camera well in 2022. Trey Turner was a shortstop. Pretty quiet. The next year, Miguel Rojas had at shortstop. What is that noise out there? It's like, oh, Miguel Rojas is running the show out here. He's a cap. It's like, oh, that's a shortstop. That's what a shortstop's supposed to do. They're supposed to be. I remember baseball's a loud game, and when it's quiet out there, what's going on? But Miggy Rowe was loud and just going, hey, I'm here. And that was like 3 days after Gavin Lux wrecked his knee. He came in and really stepped it up. And Miggy Rowe did it again. I see people going, well, we should get rid of Miggy Rowe. He had a really good year. His WAR, I think, was his B WAR was 3.2. And Mookie went down and he had to play a lot more. He more than probably the Dodgers wanted him to, but he still did his thing. He was a broken player by the end of the year. He got very few plate appearances in the World Series and things like that. But he just was at the side or something. And even that, he might not be ready for spring training either. I seem to recall something about that.
Rojas?
Yeah, with his surgery. So we'll see about that. Which, Kike Hernandez, come on down.
I'm with Clint. If he's still in here, I think he gets. Yeah, I think he signs. In spring training.
Yeah, I love this group of Dodger free agents that they had. And because so many of them were so important in the playoffs, in the postseason. I wanted to sign them all. We lost Buehler, but at least we got Teo back, we got Trinan back, those two of them. And if we get Kike back, that's 3 of the 4 big October players.
Yep.
So, and hey, we may have lost Buehler, and I will forever. It hurts. It's that
it's tough
that Vince McMahon thing of this. But we got Blake Snell. Blake Snell is a really good October pitcher too, and we've seen what Ohtani did in the WBC when he struck out Mike Trout there at the end. I like what we have. Wish Buehler was one of them, but yeah,
I think he'll be back.
I do too. I hope so. It's just got that feeling. Yeah. Well, anything else, Mike? We've been on for 2 hours, dude.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Clint's right. Kirsch and Kike signed shortly after pitchers and catchers report. Book it. Amen.
I agree with that.
Yep. And River Ryan and Gavin Stone and a couple other guys are ready to go on that 60-day IL. And I think probably Kirsch goes on it too, is my guess. I don't know what the status of his was. I think the last thing I saw of him was him with primetime 99 Alex Stein. They used to play together, and he was on crutches. That was a month and a half ago or so. So hopefully he's off crutches and getting around, getting ready to start throwing and everything. But I really want Kirsch to get those 32 strikeouts.
Yeah.
I will go. I will be there for that.
Dodgers for life.
Oh man, that's cool. Every year it's like, well, is he going to go back to Texas? Yeah. Clint, I always appreciate you coming down, man. I need you on my show, dude. I know you're a busy man. I need to get the great Clint Pasillas back on. I finally got stuff going. I got the restream that's working for me. Yeah, I owe so much to Clint. Oh my gosh. People will just never know how much I owe to Clint and all he did to help me at DN and further, even after we parted ways, Clint's always been there for me. So he's fantastic. Yamamoto in game 1 and Sasaki in game 2. I do want to see that. I know Sasaki probably doesn't, quote, earn it, but how important would that be for Japan?
I'm saying Yamamoto game 1, Snell game 2.
I think you're right, but I still want to see Sasaki in game 2 just to see it.
I think Sasaki will come in either game 1 or game 2 in a relief.
There you go. That'd be cool too. All right, let's do it. Yeah, let's do something soon, Clint. Yeah. How exciting is it going to be though for people in Japan? Yamamoto versus Imanaga.
It's going to be huge.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
Yamamoto, Sasaki,
yeah,
Shohei,
Suzuki.
we're all great pitchers in the NPB. And it's good to see all the fans. And it's true. Sasaki wasn't like a very, very big fan favorite. With the Japanese people.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they react to him. I mean, they're very respectful people. I don't see them disrespecting him at all or getting any boos. They're not like that, and you're probably not going to hear anything with the drums going in the background and all the sticks banging,
That's right.
So, but, I think it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a great thing for baseball worldwide. And promoting that. I just hope this is the last year so we can actually have 2026 a normal spring training so we can do our thing, Tim.
I know. It takes 2 weeks off our spring training, basically.
I'm tired of this.
Gosh. I know. I mean, the first game I did was their last spring training game. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were because Yamamoto pitched.
Yeah.
Yep. And oh man, that was a good time though. I was still blessed to be able to get that pass. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Japan series too. I gotta admit it. I hate it, but I'm excited about it.
Oh, me too. So.
All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, I guess it's been over 2 hours, so we should probably end this.
I appreciate you having me on, Tim. Thank you so much. I appreciate if everybody in the chat goes to DodgersBeat.com and check out the articles that we're producing. Cody and I have been doing a big bulk of all the writing, and he's got a new co-host, so I'm not really on the podcast as much anymore for the Bleed Lows podcast. And I hope to see everybody out at spring training. If you see me, come up and say hello. And I hope to see Clint out there. I'd like to meet you in person sometime and get to talking. And I'm sure Tim and I will be out there together once again. For spring training.
And Rancho too.
And Rancho too.
Yep. Oh, that's right. They have Teo on Dodgers territory tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
That'll be great. So noon Pacific time. Tube in to the Dodgers territory. Man, that's a good get. Clint, you guys are doing pretty well. I like it. And
Yes.
it's hilarious how Alana kind of threw him under the bus the other day, even though it wasn't real. Mike, thanks for coming on. It was, obviously we could talk baseball for hours because we just did.
I know.
I'm of course looking forward to hanging out with you at Rancho.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get to hang out with you at spring training, but Rancho is so great. And are you going to be at Fan Fest?
I'm not going to be at Fan Fest, but I will be at I'll be at the opening day for Oklahoma and Tulsa.
Oh wow!
And I'm planning on going up to Great Lakes at some point this year.
Awesome.
And spending at least a minimum of 4 days. It's just that's what happens when you're retired, man, and you're a writer now and stuff. I'm able to go out and do these things, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I love it. I like to hear that. Well, I'm looking forward to any of your live broadcasts, especially because I know you're also going to be hanging around the minors a bit. And
oh yeah,
getting all that info. We both got that. We got that prospect hugger label. proud to hold on to, but like they do say, parade's over prospects, man. That parade. That whole thing was fun, man.
Oh, and I think it was Mike Lopez. Thank you for the compliment of the Blue Heaven on Earth sign back there. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's cool. And Mike Lopez, I look forward to seeing you at Petco Park with the Sasaki jersey. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Number 11. All of a sudden, man, there's probably quite a few orders going in at Dodger Stadium for a new number 11. So and good for Miggy Rowe. I mean, he's only got a year or two left. Team player all the way, man.
And it looks like Dave Roberts lost his number too, number 30.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is Conforto really taking that?
That's what it has on the page.
Can't be. They're gonna have to retire number 30, because Dave's getting in the Hall of Fame.
I know.
So, oh man, I hope that's a mistake. Normally, was seeing if we're still awake. And did you see what he said? He said Dodgers are traded for Royce Lewis. Just checking. Yeah, we didn't fall asleep with the wheel. I know we're old, but we're not that old.
Good one, Norm.
That's a good one. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you so much. And
thank you, Tim.
It's really cool how one thing. It's really cool how just Dodger baseball brings us together. We're considering Ren now, of course, Clint, and some of the other people. I'm looking forward to meeting some of these other folks. I've met the explicit guys. Those are really cool, really good dudes. So
yeah, I look forward to spring training this year and hopefully be able to see quite a few people. I met Desert Doyer last season. Got a picture taken with him with his Mexican wrestling mask on and stuff. So it's
the best.
It was good to meet him in person. So
you got to get the let's go. Yeah. I love that guy, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, thanks everybody. As we like to say, as always, thank you so much. God bless and go Dodgers.